ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ. So now we are seeing a difference between two eyes. One is ahankara and other is consciousness, Atma. One is changing, one is changeless. What is changeless is witness. The main characteristic of a witness is it is changeless. And it is. So this ahankara, in a waking state itself, you can see it undergoes a change. Right now you are listener. Right? You are listener. Even as you are listening to me honestly, there are several other thoughts also occurring. He all the time keeps talking same thing again. Something. Or somebody says, oh, very nice. So as a listener also, certain responses arises in you. Please understand. Swamiji, I am a listener, he is here, she is a listener, she is a listener, she is a listener, he is a listener, but every listener is different. Because as listens, as have an experience of a sound, undergoes change. In terms of responses. As you experience anything, naturally a corresponding response also arises. But anyway, so basically, as a ahankara, I am changing. Seer, hearer, walker, talker, karta, bhokta, etc. We generally say like that, right? Doer of something, experiencer of something, bhokta. So, and when you say that the ahankara is changing, automatically you are referring to this another I, which is taking note of the changes of ahankara. If you see a moving train, if you are also in a moving train, another moving train, then you don't find another train is moving. Okay? When you are stationary, then you say that the train is moving. So same way, when I'm able to take note of ahankara, I was a seer, I'm a hearer now, etc., etc., all this. So that one who takes note of the changing ahankara, and ahankara is going to change because mind is involved. We'll see how the ahankara is formed. So, but you know, you are a seer, hearer, etc., or you are a doer of something, you constantly, that undergoes change, that you know very well, and therefore you must be, who take note of it, must be a changeless consciousness, who is able to illumine this changing ahankara. This is one. Second thing is, ahankara is made up of, is a product of 5 elements. And scientifically we call as a brain. Right? Ahankara, there they call brain. We call ahankara. It's a part of Sukshma Sharira. part of Sukshma Sharira. You know very well, Manaha, Buddhi, Chittam and Ahankara. It's a mind only. I thought we say Kara because basically it owns up everything. It owns up what is happening in the mind. Whatever happens in mind, a thought of recollection, I am recollecting. A thought of emotion, I am emoting. A thought of a doubt, I am doubting. A thought of perception, I am perceiving. Right? So that I thought is basically, whose object is the entire mind. Every thought has a object. Like part thought means what? That part thought covers the part and has that thought form. Same way I thought covers the entire mind. That's that's called ahankara. So if it covers entire mind, whatever is happening in mind, that it owns up. Clear? It owns up. And therefore thought of a doubt, I am doubting. Thought of perception, I am perceiving. Thought of sight, I am seer, etc. And it undergoes change. Because depending upon the types of thought forms occurring in the mind, this ahankara, which is owner of that, which claims as I, also undergoes change. So anger arises, I am angry. A thought of anger arises. Thought of jealousy arises, I am jealous. Look at that. So that ahankara continuously changing, and you know also that it is changing. I was angry now I am not angry. Or I am angry now, earlier I was not. Swami, I did not have any anger, now I am angry, etc. So it undergoes change, you are able to take note of it. One who takes note of a changing ahankara is a changeless consciousness. One who experiences ahankara, which is changing, must be free from a change. That is just an assumption. Then I will explain you in your experience. Sometimes you refer I as a changeless consciousness. That we'll see later. But from the inference itself, I can tell that. Anyway, an ahankara is a product of ultimately mind and therefore subtle elements, and therefore it cannot have a sentiency of own. And ahankara, therefore, if it is sentient, naturally it is sentient, conscious, then it has a borrowed sentiency from me. As I become aware of the mind definitely, after getting illumined by me, the consciousness, becomes conscious, like the moon, exactly like the moon. Moon basically first get reflected or lighted up by the sun, and then that moon which is lighted up by the sun lights up the world, we can say. Same way here. So the mind which is basically lighted up by I, the consciousness, now lights up the world, etc. So then there are other thoughts, all are lighted up by the ahankara. Anyway, so that is jada. That's another difference between ahankara and atma. The third is a parichinna. Ahankara is limited. When, like right now, your I, whenever you think of I right now at this moment, you definitely have awareness that you are sitting in this hall and this is time and I am so and so. Right? I am so and so, male, this, with certain attributes. That I is ahankara, which is limited in time, in place, and certain attributes. Right now, when you right now think of yourself, you will say that I am located here, etc., etc. And the second thing is you have an experience of you, I, in a deep sleep state, which is free from any limitation of space, time, and attributes. That experience also you have. In a deep sleep state, you don't have that kind of awareness about yourself that you are a limited being, right? You are free from limitations. Therefore, you have an experience of yourself as a limited entity, waking and dream. You have experience of yourself as a free from, I would not say limitless, you will not agree immediately, but you will definitely free, you will find that you don't have any limitation of space, because you don't find in a deep sleep state, which is, I is very much there to experience the deep sleep state, has any kind of a limitation, space, time, or any attributes, which is right. Which I is right. Whether I am limited is right, which I experience myself, which I am aware of in two states, that is right, or I am basically free from limitation in deep sleep state, that is right. That's the question. And definitely, Shankaracharya ji explains this very beautifully in Taitiriya Bhashyam, that whatever is effortless, that is your nature. Whatever is effortless, that's your nature. So what you naturally accept without resistance, that must be your nature. And therefore, I can give you an example of a water. When you want water, a hot water, or you want a cold water, you put effort, right? When you just want water, which is nature, which is with its natural state, you have not to put effort. If you want a hot water, you have to put effort. If you want a cold water, you put an effort to put in a refrigerator, etc. But you just want a water in its natural state, you don't put effort. Similarly, even though you have a opposite experience of yourself, that I am a limited entity in place, time and attributes, and you have also experience of yourself as no limitation in terms of time, place and attributes, you find yourself in a deep sleep state without any attributes. What attributes you have? Just I, nothing, no attributes. No, Swamiji, I am a man and etc. I experience I am a man in the deep sleep state. You are not sleeping then, definitely. Therefore, anyway, so my point is both the types of experiences you have, but in that, well, basically, the deep sleep state is one which is without effort. To maintain deep sleep state, etc., you don't need any effort. Dropping all efforts only is called deep sleep state. Where you drop all efforts, that's called deep sleep state. And therefore, I am free from limitation looks that it may be my nature. It may be my nature, which is not time bound, right? Which is not time bound, which is not place bound, etc., which is not having a certain attributes. And therefore, since I experience myself without limitation of a time in a deep sleep state, I am a changeless consciousness. What is within the realm of time undergoes change. Could you follow? What is within time undergoes change. If you see your nature without limitation of time, etc., then definitely you must be a changeless consciousness. That's your nature. Whereas this ahankara, the seer, hearer, etc., which is nothing but a mind only, modification of mind, well, that is changing. So you are witness to that. Remaining a changeless consciousness, you pervade this ahankara, etc. This is an argument. Then further, you are aware of that you are right now a listener. You are very much aware that you are a listener. In fact, somebody is calling you. Suppose you are talking in a group. After this class is over, you are talking. And then somebody is trying to draw your attention. You are very much aware that you are not listening to that person because you are talking. You are a talker right now, you are aware of, and you want to listen. So you stop your talking and you listen to that person. So whatever the condition of the mind, ahankara, that is very much you are aware of. That's how ahankara is a drishyam. Drishyam, it's an object of your experience. You know you are a listener now, and you suspend it and you want to talk, or you are talking and you want to suspend it and you want to listen, etc. All you are aware of. And therefore, basically, the ahankara, which is changing, is a object of experience. It is not you. First thing. You are a changeless awareness who illumines this changing ahankara. That is one. Not only you are aware of the presence of ahankara, which is right now, you are also aware of the absence of ahankara. In a deep sleep state, there is no I thought, there is no sense of individuality, there is no kartrutvam, no bhoktrutvam. You are not an experience of anything, you are not a doer of anything, you are not an individual, etc. So I thought the sense of individuality gets dropped totally, that's also your experience. So ahankara is that way also object of experience. Like, suppose on the back side of me, there is an elephant, suppose. Just think, how will I know? Well, I will just turn. No, Swamiji, we will tell you. You may tell, but then I may not agree, suppose. Then what will I do? I will turn my face and I will see the presence of elephant. Or else I will turn my face and see the absence of elephant. So directly I see, not that you say and therefore I take it. I directly, sakshat ikshate. I directly see. Sakshi is what? Sakshat ikshate. Directly see. Directly see the presence or absence of elephant. Same way, directly you see in a waking and dream. Directly you have an experience of ahankara, right? And absence of ahankara also. You have a direct experience without even taking help of sense organs. You don't use your eyes to see I am a seer. In fact, you are a seer, therefore you take help of eyes and see. Could you follow what I am saying? You directly see. We call Sakshi Pratyaksha also. That's how. You are a seer. How will you know? Swamiji, I have used my eyes to see that I am a seer. Kya baat hai? Since you are a seer, you are able to see. Therefore, I, the consciousness which illumines the presence of ahankara or absence of ahankara in a deep sleep, presence of ahankara in a waking and dream, therefore I am, the consciousness is called Sakshi, witness. Sakshat ikshate. I directly perceive, right? Not through senses. Could you follow? I see you through senses, but I see the seer. I am a seer right now. I know that I am a seer. I am aware that I am a seer. That awareness of me is direct. No intervention of sense organs. In fact, Sakshi also is really a status given to you with respect to the mind. Not that you will, you put an effort to illumine the mind or ahankara. Never. Since you are a self-shining principle, the mind which is non-separate from you gets automatically illumined. So with respect to the mind which is illumined, witnessed, objectified, known, you are called witness consciousness. Like the sun. Sun illumines the world is a wrong statement. Sun never illumines, even though we use the verb. Sun illumines. Any verb means denoting an action. But it's not here. Sun shines, well, that's a proper thing. Sun illumines the world is not proper. The world which is close to the sun gets illumined and therefore sun gains a status called illuminator, revealer, etc. Could you follow what I am saying? I am a self-shining, self-evident principle. We'll see that ultimately everything needs an evidence of the self, consciousness. Without consciousness, nothing can be evident. Right? Ultimately, everything is evident to the consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is self-evident, self-revealing, self-shining. Well, and the mind and everything else, of course, we will be seeing, mind is a non-separate from the consciousness. Ahankara is non-separate from the consciousness, gets illumined, witnessed. This parade of seer, hearer, etc., and parade of other experiences also, hearing and everything is within consciousness. Therefore, all these changes of the mind are definitely, the parade of that is illumined by me. It is illumined by me, and therefore I am called illuminator. But really speaking, I don't do any job of illumination. I am a self-shining principle. Could you follow? And therefore, this is how we have to understand that the ahankara is a object of experience. Either presence of it or absence of it is, absence of ahankara also is illumined by me. Presence also is, of course, illumined by me. And therefore, definitely I, the self-shining principle, is called witness consciousness. And witness, I told you, sakshi, because sakshat ikshate, it doesn't need a proof of anything. Your existence I am able to prove through my eyes. Your sound I am able to prove through my ears. But the seer, hearer here, is not proved by any sense organs. Yeah. It is proved directly by me. Because why? Because I am of the nature of self-shining principle, consciousness. Consciousness illumines ahankara directly. Sakshat ikshate. Could you follow now? So therefore, I am of the nature of Sakshi. In fact, I am just consciousness, to be honest with you. I am just consciousness. But with respect to this mind or ahankara, or with respect to the other thoughts of experience in the mind, I am called a illuminator. Since they are illumined automatically in my presence. That's how. Anyway, then also we can see that this ahankara comes and goes. So there are two things. One, earlier I said a ahankara undergoes a change. And now I am saying ahankara comes and goes. Looks like it is same, but it's not same. When it is present, it undergoes a change. Like in a waking state. It becomes a eater, becomes a seer, becomes a runner, becomes a hearer, etc. While it is present in a waking state, ahankara undergoes a change. But not only it undergoes a change, it comes and goes also. In a waking state, as the mind arises, ahankara arises, right? The knower arises. And deep sleep state, it resolves. So that way. Within a state undergoes a change, vikara. And comes and goes, that's called vibhichara. So vibhichara is comes and goes. And its presence and absence both are illumined by me, because I am ever present. All the time I am present. I am of the nature of existence and consciousness. I am ever present. When mind appears, well, it shines, it is illumined in my presence. When it becomes absent, it is still illumined. The absence also is illumined by my presence. I am of the nature of presence, which is of the nature of consciousness, Satchit. And therefore, I am all pervading consciousness, which it doesn't come and go. Ahankara comes and goes. When knower is there, then definitely it will employ the means of knowledge and will know the world. Right? Knower employs the means of knowledge. So basically, if a physical world is known, definitely you are employing means of knowledge. And means of knowledge, if you are employing, it automatically proves that knower is present. When knower is absent, means of knowledge also is absent, world is not known. That's a deep sleep state. Could you follow? Therefore, basically, I am the witness consciousness of the ahankara. This is how, with reference to ahankara, with reference to the mind, the thoughts in the mind, I thought or this thought, any thought, well, basically, with respect to that, I am called witness. Otherwise, I am just consciousness, pure consciousness, nothing else. Anyway, and so these are certain points which is with respect to ahankara and Atma. And now the question arises whether Atma can become a object of experience or not. It is one wants to experience oneself as a witness. That's another issue. So we should know that experience can never be experienced. Experiencer can never be experienced. We should know that. Experiencer can never become an object of experience. Because if consciousness is an object of experience, and I am an experiencer of consciousness, in that case, consciousness will come and go. Anything which you experience comes and goes. Because you always experience a given thing in form of a thought. When a thought is lighted in consciousness, we call experience. That's it. It's a thought form. That thought form is lighted up by the consciousness. Because of the nature of the mind, nature of the thought, it definitely the consciousness get reflected over that. And that is called knowledge. That's called experience. Like I am seeing you, suppose. Then there is a thought form of you in my mind. Right? And that thought form automatically gets lighted in the consciousness because the whole mind is non-separate from I. And it is lighted. We call experience of a you. That's it. Nothing else. And therefore, if consciousness also become an object of experience, then consciousness, think of, consciousness becomes a thought form of, the consciousness will be pervaded by a thought form, let's say. And that is also, being a thought form, nature of thought is kshanikam, and therefore consciousness will be experienced and then consciousness will not be experienced also. That doesn't happen, and you think of that consciousness will go away. And you say that was consciousness has gone away. Who is saying that? The conscious being is saying that. How conscious being saying that I am inert, consciousness has gone away. How it is possible? Could you follow? So a experiencer can never be experienced. We should know that. Atma is an object of experience or not. It is never an object of experience. You can never experience the absence of consciousness. In fact, the absence of anything is experienced by what? Consciousness. We have just discussed ahankara, etc. Therefore, definitely this kind of a trip on part of Vedanta to experience oneself as a sakshi or something, so that should not be the criteria. Anyway, so consciousness is ever experiencer, never the experienced. So we can say unexperienced experiencer, unobjectifiable subject, the unnegatable negator, right? Unnegatable negator, one who negates everything. Then that negator cannot be negated. To negate the negator, you have to bring another negator ultimately, and therefore consciousness is an unnegatable negator, and therefore that is called Atma, that is called Sakshi, and who is witness. And your job basically is not to come across Sakshi. Again, object, come across Sakshi. I want to experience myself as a Sakshi. Says myself and says again as an object. Anyway, this is all. Anyway, so basically you basically your job is not to come across the Sakshi. Your job is owning up yourself as the Sakshi. You are a changeless consciousness principle which illumines presence and absence of everything, and who is definitely all the time present naturally. So briefly experiencing Sakshi is not your aim. If your aim is to briefly experience the Sakshi, again it will become an object of experience, and that is subject to arrival and depart. And once Sakshi, that is consciousness, departs, then you become inert. To say I am inert, you should be again conscious, and therefore consciousness never goes. Therefore, it will never be an object of experience. Any object of experience will live. It is within time. Any experience is born and gone, always. And therefore, Sakshi is not a object of experience anyway. And therefore, otherwise consciousness becomes a subject. Consciousness becomes subject to arrival and departure. So basically, own up that you are the Sakshi. That's a Sakshi Bhava, owning up with the help of intellect. This is very critical. How will I know? Who knows that I am Sakshi? That's a question they ask. Who knows I am Sakshi? You know you are Sakshi. But then if I know I am a Sakshi, then I am a knower. And if I am knower, then definitely I should say I am knower. I should not say I am Sakshi. That's a wrong thing. If I am a knower, and if I say I am Sakshi, means it is wrong. I should say what? I am a knower. But basically, this is like saying, I am happy. Just think. You are saying to me, Swami, I am very happy. When you say you are happy, you say it with the help of speech. But you have not referred. You have not included speech in your happiness. Happiness means it's your mind which you are describing. You are saying you are describing the condition of your mind, but you are not with the help of the speech, but you are not including speech in the happiness. Okay? Could you follow what I am saying? Same way you use this intellect, ahankara. Ahankara alone exposes, the knower exposes to the pramana, means of knowledge, but then knower excludes itself. The speech excludes itself when it says I am happy. It includes only mind. Same way knower excludes itself because knower is mithya. Knower stands on what? Consciousness. And therefore knower cannot be without consciousness. I told you already. Seer is there, consciousness is there. Seer is not, consciousness is there. Consciousness is the reality, basis we have seen also. The basis. And therefore knower, well, when it says knower, when I am a knower, definitely my basis is there, consciousness is there. And therefore, It's a mixture, Satya-mithya mixture only. And therefore, well, knowing that I am consciousness, well, I negate my mithya status. That's it, nothing else. Could you follow what I'm saying? That what basically I am is like knowing a 10th man, right? The 10th man only says, taking himself as a 9th, well, he says, I am 9th. Now somebody says, you are 10th. So that person who was saying, I am 9th, alone negates the 9th and says, I am 10th. Because he understands that now I am saying I am a 9th man is not a correct thing. What is the correct thing? I am 10th man. Clear? So same way, ahankara negates itself because ahankara is not a real entity. The knower is of course ahankara, pramata, but then exposing to the means of knowledge, well, it understands that in reality I am a consciousness, which is a witness to this ahankara. And so it's clear that one cannot own up, I am a sakshi, etc., even in a samadhi, because in a samadhi the knower itself has resolved, ahankara has resolved, right? And therefore, in a samadhi one cannot know. Means of knowledge also not available in a samadhi. And therefore, when if means of knowledge is not there, you cannot definitely, you cannot gain the knowledge. For gaining knowledge, you need a means of knowledge. And not only means of knowledge, you need a knower also. The knower itself has resolved in a nirvikalpaka samadhi, then it cannot know. So anyway, Atma is never experienced, it is ever a form of a experience, changeless experience. And now we can understand very well, changeless experience, a changeless observer, changeless consciousness is my nature. And when somebody objected to this, he says what is never experienced is basically is a matter of belief. What is never experienced is a matter of belief. He gave me example that like a heaven. Heaven is never experienced by anybody, right? And therefore it cannot become an object of experience, and therefore heaven is a matter of what? Belief. Therefore we also here, Atma also is never an object of experience. Therefore Atma is also to be believed. No. There it is a question, because the heaven is not evident by itself. Heaven is to be evident by our means of knowledge, to this knower, etc. And since it is a paroksha, well, it is for the knower, no means of knowledge is there, whether it is there or not. Therefore, you can believe. But here, Atma is something which is ever evident, ever evident self. In fact, everything becomes evident to the self, and that self is self-evident. And therefore, there is for anything which is self-evident, there is no question of proving. No proof is necessary for a self-evident thing, right? And therefore, basically, that's not correct to say that it's a matter of belief. In fact, all the beliefs are there, they are evident to consciousness. Ultimately, consciousness doesn't require any proof. The consciousness is the only thing which doesn't require proof for its existence. Everything needs proof. Even you are there or not, well, I can prove you are present here through my means of knowledge, mind and eyes. Whether I am there or not, what means of knowledge is required? I am there or not. Swamiji, wait, let me use my eyes to see I is there or not. Let me use my ears to hear whether I am there or not. No. I am there even without using means of knowledge, I know I am there. Even before a thought arises, I am there, you know very well. A thought arises, you are there, thought has gone, you are very much there. So you don't need even a thought also. Mind also is a means of knowledge to prove you are there or not. That's what happened to our Descartes, okay? Right? Earlier he thought that I am there because I think. Then he understood that, well, even if I don't think, I am there. Lastly, he realized that even if I don't think, I am very much there. So even you don't need a thought to prove your existence. You are very much there. Whether thought is there or not, you know very well. It's your own experience, deep sleep state and other things experience are there. Even in a waking state itself, sometimes you just become stunned with a certain thing and you feel that there is no thought. Even if you do this antah-kumbha, your mind will stop. Try it. Mind will stop thinking because, you are not taking antah-kumbha or bahish-kumbha, whatever you do. Means you inhale and don't exhale out, or you exhale and don't take in. Then you find that as though mind has stopped thinking. You are very much there to say later, oh, my mind had stopped totally the thinking when I did this, right? So you are very much there. You are so evident. Then you don't need even a thought to prove you are there. You don't need any eyes, ears, etc. to prove that you are there. So you are self-evident. You don't need evidence, proof of sense organs, mind or anything. You are there. You know you are there. You say, I am there. I say, how do you know you are there? I know I am there. Because you are self-evident. So what is self-evident need not be believed. There is no question of believing. What I am, well, it's a matter of belief. That will be there. You may have to ask somebody that who am I? After I am, whatever is you want to put, for that you may have to take somebody's permission. I mean somebody's impression about you. That's a different matter. But just I am, you know you are there. Therefore, it's not a matter of belief. Even though it is not an object of experience, it is not a matter of belief. So that's the thing. Anyway, and therefore, I am the consciousness, witness consciousness, who is conscious of the body and conscious of the presence of the body. I am even conscious of the absence of the body in deep sleep state. Well, I am not aware of the body. Body is absent as though. That also I am aware of. Same way, well, I am consciousness pervading the thought also. And when the thoughts are there, well, they are all illumined in my presence. When thoughts are not there, well, the silence, the absence of thought also is illumined by me. So what obtains in silence basically is you, the consciousness. Consciousness alone is of the nature of silence. Anyway, so regarding Sakshi, this is there. Certain more things I want to give, that you have your own experience of changeless consciousness. Yeah, that's also there. And for that purpose, let's see this. When you use the word I, in some time you use the word for this changing ahankara, and sometime you use the word I for changeless witness principle, changeless consciousness. You yourself use, therefore you cannot deny it. What happens is, when you refer, let's say right now you are referring I, by word I, and you say to me that you are a happy person right now. You want to describe yourself, okay? You want to describe in private, let's say in private you are describing to me. Means you are aware of yourself, that you are of so attributes. You are also aware that you are present right now in front of Swami, and this is the time, class is over, this is the time. So when you are describing yourself with a certain attributes, you are very much aware that you are a limited being, right? You are limited being in place, time, and you are having a certain attributes. And those attributes may be bothering you sometimes, too much to you. And so this is, when you say I am so and so, I am undergoing so and so things, etc., etc., that I is a experienced I by you yourself, because you are describing. That is you, which is described by you, which is time bound, place bound, and this is definitely a ahankara. Now see, you, and then you, just to change the topic, you said that Swamiji, last evening I went to see a Arangetram of my friend's daughter. You say that. And then you narrate whole thing, that I enjoyed it, etc., etc. But sometimes, because you may be knowing the classical dance in detail, and therefore you may be able to enjoy more, or you may be able to enjoy music or whatever. But you narrate that. That I also is ahankara, because you say I was present in so and so place, so and so time yesterday, etc., and having experienced that Arangetram, etc., and you express that it was so good and this, and I enjoyed and all that. Certain attributes. Look at that. So when you are describing, the first you describe about yourself, your present condition, right? And as an individual, you are ahankara. Then you recollected, you remembered yourself also present at a so and so place, present at a so and so time, with a certain attributes, that is also what? Ahankara. Right? Both are ahankara. And that seer has already gone of that program, etc. And right now you are present with certain other attributes. That's true. But present I and that experience, the present I, the experienced I right now, and the remembered I, both are ahankara. Both are ahankara, and they are different because time is different, place is different. You are right now present here. That the place was different naturally. Time was different yesterday. Now here it is today, and different attributes. Here different attributes because here you are talking about yourself with certain issues, etc. So you are a little sad. There you enjoyed the program with a certain other attributes. You enjoyed, etc. Anyway, so we are happy self, etc. at that time. Okay. So different attributes. Both I. You said I went there and I enjoyed. That I also is ahankara. This I also which you experience also is ahankara. But suppose you say, I am the same person who enjoyed, or I am the one who enjoyed the evening program, is the same I talking to you. Means what? Please tell me. I am the same person who enjoyed last evening program, is the same I talking to you about my certain confusions, certain issues. That I is basically connecting to both the ahankaras. Could you follow what I am saying? Is connecting to both the ahankaras. One is this cognized I, experienced I right now, and one is what? Remembered I of last evening. Remembered I and cognized I are connected. Two ahankaras, right, are connected. And then that shows that there is another I which is free from the limitation of a given place, limitation of a given time. Yesterday also it was there, I was there, now also I am there. So it is free from the limitation of space, place, limitation of time, and limitation of attributes. Here you are describing your different attributes. There you experience a different attributes, but you know that you only experience, right, different, with a different attributes. My point is that I which connects two ahankaras, remembered I and the present I, cognized I, experienced I, is what? Which is free from the effect of limitation of time, place, and attributes. Having these attributes also, those attributes also. So it doesn't have a specific attributes. When limitations of attributes also is not there. That I is called recognized I. From remembrance, we call and cognized experience right now, and you are narrating to me. It's a cognition, your own cognition about yourself you are narrating, and therefore it's called recognized. We call in Shastra as a pratyabhignya, right? Pratyabhignya. Like I can even, or you can even narrate. Swamiji, I experienced you last year. I heard you last year. Same I is hearing right now. Can you understand that? Now last year, who listened, that I has already gone. Naturally. But it was a time bound, place bound, with a certain attributes. You may say, Swamiji, last year I liked little more. This time I'm getting a little bored with you. Or last year I became bored with you, and this time I liked. So attributes also different. But I am a same person who was present at that time, that place, with a different attributes, and he is the same person right now present at this time, at this place, with these attributes. Then there is one I which has no limitation of place, time, or attributes. Could you follow what I am saying? That I is recognized by me, recognized, pratyabhignya. Pragaswap samiti prabodha samaye yaf pratyabhignayate. Dakshinamurti Stotram. Shankaracharya ji says, Pragaswap samiti prabodha samaye. Prag aswapsam. Earlier I slept. The same I who slept is the I who is awake and talking to you. Means that is one I which was present there at that time, at that place, with a different attributes. Attributes of the sleeper is with the attributes of waker, different. But one I is there which is connecting both, which is unaffected by place, time, or attributes. Could you follow? Which is, because past I has gone. Present I also will go after some time. The ahankara will go. But one I is there which is able to connect the seer, hearer, talker, walker, etc. Either past, either of present. So that I is definitely a one comes to know, which is free from the effect of place, time and attributes, is the Sakshi, is a witness of both the Ahankaras. Being, how can you say witness? Changeless. Was present there also without change, is present right now also. So you know very well that the same I was there yesterday is the I which is present right now. That I has not undergone any change. And they always give an example of Soyam Devdattaha. You must be knowing that very well. Right? Do you remember this? Soyam Devdattaha. So you had a friend of you who studied with you in a college and before many years. And now that person is standing in front of you and talking to you that, do you recognize me? He is able to recognize you. You are not able to recognize. And then definitely, and he said that he is so and so, etc. And then you understood. But you are not, when you recognize the person, well, definitely you are doing one thing. The person who was in the past was a different complexion of the physical body, having a hair and other things, and also maybe a little, lean, etc. Now he has become a little hefty and have a different complexions, and perhaps the hair also might have gone. So therefore, attributes are quite opposite. One was young and lean, etc., with a lot of hair, maybe good looking also, now become old, etc. And so when you connect both the person, when you say that, oh, I recognize you, you are doing one job in your mind. When you say I recognize you, you are doing one job. You are removing that attributes of the past and attributes of the present, because both are very opposite. You cannot combine them. So you remove both the attributes which are of the opposite nature, you remove it, and you remove that past also, etc., past time, past place. He was in Delhi with you in a college. All that you remove, and you connect to only a person. The person was the same. Attributes have changed, but person behind both these personalities, let's say personalities, behind both the personalities, person was one and the same. So by removing those superficial attributes, you are able to recognize the person. And so you say, I recognize you. When you recognize, you have removed those things. His looks as a young person and looks as the old person, both as though you remove, and you just recognize the person behind the personality. Same way here, while you recognize that behind every ahankara, the person, the consciousness, which is the person, is the same. This ahankara is the personality. You assume the personality, you assume the vesha, because to transact with the world. So you become a seer, hearer, etc. So Vedanta says, whenever you are equating past ahankara and present ahankara, sohamasmi, etc., you are removing the time, place and the attributes, and you are considering only the common factor between the past ahankara and the present ahankara, and that changeless common factor, changeless naturally, which has not undergone any change, that changeless factor in the changing ahankara is called Sakshi. That consciousness alone is the unchanging factor between past ahankara and present ahankara, which you are referring as, I was the person who enjoyed, and I am the same person talking to you right now. That I has not undergone any change. That is how sometimes you refer I as a changeless Sakshi, sometimes you refer I as a changing ahankara in form of seer, hearer, etc. Could you follow? So this is how your own experience revealed that there is a basis, a consciousness which is changeless, which is present in and through all ahankaras. Without consciousness, there cannot be a seer, hearer, etc. So you pervade the seer, hearer all. At the same time, you remain unaffected by their presence. And even if they go away, well, it doesn't leave any trace on you, the consciousness. You remain changeless, which is beyond the limits of time. Being being actually, if you don't have a limitations of time, you are definitely a changeless consciousness. So this is how. So, between changing ahankaras, what is present here is a changeless sakshi. And this recognized I is sakshi, the experienced I is ahankara, the remembered I also is ahankara, but one who connects both, the remembered and the experienced, present ahankara is this a common factor, common person, like in that person, same way. So this is how Shankaracharya said, Prag asvapsama ahamiti yah pratyabhignayate. Earlier I slept, now I am awake. Or I had a dream, then I slept, then I am awake. So that I has not undergone any change. Whereas attributes of a dreamer, attributes of a waker, attributes of a sleeper are different, right? Different. You slept at some time, so it was a time-bound thing. You dreamt at a certain time, time-bound thing, and you are awake here right now. That's also, waker also is a time-bound. But what is one I, which is present in all the three, unaffected by all the three, changeless, is this sakshi. So you refer by your own experience that I slept, I dreamt, and the same I is awake. Clear? So this is, so recognizing oneself as a changeless consciousness is called understanding sakshi, and then slowly owning up through the contemplation. That's called sakshi bhava in our, if you want to call. But really it is sakshi bhava means you are not experiencing yourself as a sakshi. You are ever sakshi, you are owning up slowly. Even if you don't understand, you are going to be sakshi. You are unaffected self. You are free self. You are asanga basically, unaffected by anything. But you don't know. And then waiting for some experience of a sakshi as an object as though. Naturally, when you want to experience, you have to objectify it. And therefore that doesn't work. It is you, which is the sakshi. So this is how we can, then sarvatma, etc. I think we have to leave it because it's another topic which, in fact, in this sakshi itself, I have given up certain things, certain points which I have noted. But I hope I have brought home the thing which I wanted to convey. And you can definitely ask certain questions regarding what we discuss also, and then we will discuss. Right? We have certain questions, and we can ask. Yes, please.
I'll just speak from here.
I can understand.
Bluetooth connected.
Swamiji, hi, I'm Ronnie. Thank you very much for being here and for this wonderful explanation of the Sakshi Bhava. The question I have is it not working? The question I have is, so when a child is born, they have consciousness, right, obviously.
Conscious being.
But they have no body identity.
Yes.
And they're very happy and they live in that total consciousness state, right? How is and they don't have any eye-power. They don't identify with their body. Sometimes you see them looking at their hand and smiling, they're discovering their body. How is it that they change, we change? Is it the world that corrupts them slowly, or
No.
is it just natural?
It's
because
natural.
later on, they start identifying with their body and get this confusion that I'm the body.
So it is, I think, it's a natural process where ahankara is yet not fully manifest. Like, you can see when it happens, even like when you identify with a dream body, etc., it is actually basically you are identifying with a subtle body, part of the subtle body, and create the whole dream, right? There also there is identification. Ahankara is there, but that ahankara compared to the waking state, where full manifestation, we call Vishwa, that is how we call Vishwa, where you have identification with even gross body also. So that compared to that ahankara, the ahankara which is present in the dream state as a dreamer is, you can say, it is a subtle manifestation. And that it becomes, then ahankara becomes unmanifest in a deep sleep state, you know very well. So, when a child is born, ahankara is not yet fully manifest. When it becomes, they say 2 or 2.5 years, later the sense of individuality develops. So, I sense develops, etc. And then they also will, you always see that they also cry. So, if a child's brother, etc., gets something and if he doesn't get, immediately cries. Means a sense of individuality is that I am basically, I have been deprived of that particular thing which my brother has been given, etc. So, that sense of individuality develops slowly. You can compare with a sense of individuality in a dream state where there is a I sense with a part of the mind only, just vasanas, and then whole thing manifests. Whereas in a waking state, it is a full manifestation, right? Full mind, not only just mind, the entire subtle body and also gross body. So that kind of phases are there, which is a part of nature. It's part of nature that 2 or 2.5 years, up to that, the ahankara is not fully manifest. That's the thing. So there is no dosha of a world, etc., that they are doing something, etc. And that's how up to 2.5 years, 3 years also, and the child basically is not, even the clothes are not there on their body, later they may ask, but not at that time, before.
You said you cannot experience Atma. So then you described the deep sleep state. Is the deep sleep state as close as it gets? Like, is that
As close as?
as close as it gets to like experiencing the Atma?
True, nice. But point is, what happens is, what he wants to say is that in a waking state, ahankara is present. And therefore, you are not able to experience yourself in a pure state kind of a thing as Atma. That's true. But in a deep sleep state, even though we experience, but we are not able to appreciate that I am just a sakshi. Could you follow? When ahankara is awake, waking state, then you say, I slept very well, there was no sense of individuality, there was no I thought, etc. And still I definitely witnessed the blankness, ignorance, or unmanifest condition I witnessed, and therefore I am a witness. You can appreciate when you wake up. When ahankara, that is how we say, even if you want to know you are a sakshi, you need what? Ahankara. Knower you need. Without knower, you cannot know. But when knower definitely can understand that I am in a true sense, I am not a knower. Knower is my just incidental status. I am basically knowledge, the consciousness, pure consciousness. That is, like a 10th man says, I gave you the example. He says, I am ninth. When he exposed to certain words of another person who says, you are 10th, he immediately cancels. Because the reality is that he is a 10th. So therefore, this is how we have to understand. So knower is required. When knower is not there, how will he know? So the means of knowledge and the knower, that's mind only, are sleeping. Therefore, even though you are just sakshi, who is sakshi of even ahankara, which is an unmanifest condition, but in waking state only you are able to recollect and say.
Another extension of the previous question, when you said that ahankara doesn't develop at least to the later stages, is ahankara needed for survival of the body? Is that why ahankara is there? And if that is the case, then what are we trying
Absolutely right. That's what I'm saying you. Ahankara is a blessing, actually. Ahankara is a blessing. You should not claim I am ahankara. That's it. Ahankara will go away, destroyed. That's how in yoga this mano nasha, etc. came. There is no necessity, and I don't think it is possible also. It's possible.
survive? Like, how would the body survive?
That's what I'm saying you.
I'm not
So,
selfish.
no. Ahankara is manifestation of Ishvara only. Because a jiva has a prarabdha, he will experience it. He will experience in form of a sukha dukkha. For experiencing, there should be conscious body. And there should be a subtle body also required. All that is required. Depending upon prarabdha, that setup is there. Right? So, ahankara definitely continues. I was not able to cover, but I will cover it. So ahankara, only you don't claim I am ahankara. I am just knower. This is my reality. No, 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 no. You are knowledge. You are consciousness. That's what I am saying.
Changing your perspective.
Perspective. When you say I am ahankara only, means it's not correct. You should know that, well, in reality you are even as a basis for the ahankara, that is consciousness. So that is the thing. So then ahankara continues as a mithya entity, badita. It just continues. And you will say, the Jnani, that's how it says, I am running, I am this, I am doing that, I am talking, I am teaching, all that, or I am eating. So then we feel that, oh, ahankara is still there. But it is there, but for him it has become, see, there are two things we should understand. People take this world as a dream. Talk based on it, Mandukya, etc. Sometimes you feel that, oh, this is also a dream. But they don't realize that, in a dream, when the dream is over, the whole dream world literally get merged into you, the waker. Whereas here, you know this world, mithya, etc. Here, by comparing, in terms of a reality, you compare it. But this world will not merge into you. Yeah. But one thing happens, which is exactly like dream is, there with merger as though it become a non-separate from you. It's your manifestation, you understood. Same way, this world, you will understand it as a non-separate from you. That is consciousness. Could you follow? That also you understood when it merged, whole thing, literally it merged into when you wake up. Then you understood it was my manifestation. This world will not merge into you, the waker. But this world, you will understand it as a non-separate from you, the consciousness.
So last time I had asked you this question, you said when you dream, you're creating dream objects in your dream.
Yeah.
But the waking world, you are a dream object in somebody else's dream.
Good.
That's what you told me last time.
Absolutely, absolutely. But my point is, I compare, the dream world and this world totally, suppose. Then you feel there, once I wake up, the whole world gets resolved. Here I further wake up, uttishtata jagrata prapya varat nibodhata. The Yamadharmaraja says you further wake up, means you are awake to yourself. Then this world also should resolve into me. You feel that? No, it won't. It won't. Because the dream world is born of a Vyashti Upadhi, which is Mithya Avidya. When you sleep, it arises from that. This world has arisen from Maya Upadhi.
I have a clarification to ask on this question.
Yes, yes.
So, in a way, this world is also my own manifestation, in the sense that it's how I perceive it, right?
Yeah.
I will perceive it differently the same situation, and she will perceive it, or XYZ will perceive it.
Yeah.
So when I look at this statement, Jagat Mithya, from a Vedantic perspective, I look at it and say, it's how my mind perceives any object in the world. If I close my eyes, or if I'm blind and I've never seen it, I may perceive it quite differently, right? So from that perspective, it does dissolve into me, because I am manifesting it from my past experiences or my sanskaras.
Your srishti resolves in you. Like this is objective world. On objective world, you create another world through your perception, through your ragadvesha, in fact, through your. So on this world, you project something else. When you understand that objective world as objective, Ishvara, then you resolve Jiva Srishti. You resolve the dream creation. Here you resolve your projection. That's called preparedness. That's called preparedness. Then you understand the objective world as object. Means what? Ishvara. Then you understand Ishvara directly. That is how they say, when attributes of the object are seen. Let's leave that. I'm sorry. I'm going in some other direction. But could you follow? Your own projection regarding the world. But how can you say that it's my own projection? Because as you rightly said, that Swamiji, I perceive the world this way. The other person perceived differently. Means it is a Jiva Srishti. So ultimately, to be in a harmony with the Ishvara, you have to resolve that subjective perception. Then you will be in harmony with the Ishvara, and then you realize it's your own manifestation. Yeah. When you understand you are a witness consciousness, then now as a consciousness you find it's a truth of everything. If it is truth of everything, it's a self of everything, means you are the self of everything. Could you follow what I am saying? So one says I am an individual, how can I be Ishvara? Definitely not. Definitely not. But if you understand that I am not ahankara, I am not an individual, I am not a jiva, but I am consciousness. And as a consciousness, basically I am free from any limitations of time, place and attributes. Oh, then I am limitless. If I am limitless, then I pervade everything. Not just pervading this body, mind or this ahankara, I pervade everything. A limitless thing cannot pervade only one ahankara, should pervade all ahankara. And so then you go in that direction. So first you have to understand I am not ahankara, I am a witness consciousness, and then you understand you are basically a limitless consciousness, and as a limitless consciousness, well, you and Ishvara are one and the same. That's how Chidananda Rupaha first, and then Shivaha, I am Shiva. If you understand, if wave understand I am a water first, then wave can definitely say I am ocean. Wave can say. Wave has to understand first. Wave says, no, I am wave only. How can I be ocean? Well, definitely. But that's not reality. Wave has to understand. The reality is wave is water. And as a water, it is all pervading. Then he can say, oh, not one ocean, all 7 oceans are water. I am in the form of 7 oceans. Can it say or not? So this is how we have to understand. So that's how sometimes it becomes too much for the people to say, oh, these people say, I'm not a jiva, I'm Ishvara. Oh, how can you say I'm Ishvara? But you should understand, as a consciousness, you are the cause of everything. Because you are self-existent, and because of you, everything exists. That is called the cause, which lends existence, in fact. What is the cause of the entire ornamental world? Gold. One gold. Any ornament is, that isness, the beingness of any ornament belongs to gold only. Only gold. So therefore you are self-existent, and therefore you are being of everything. You say space is, time is, computer is, this is, that is. That isness, the beingness of everything is you. Means you are self of everything. Do you follow what I am saying? Yeah. So that is how. First we have to understand I am a witness consciousness, that's my reality. And as a witness consciousness, there cannot be another consciousness. To be another consciousness, it should become an object of consciousness. Could you follow? There cannot be other object. That's how in English also there is no plural for consciousness. I have never seen the word consciousnesses. There is no plural. Consciousness. So consciousness cannot have a boundary. If it has a boundary, means you have objectified it. Oh, this is boundary and this is another consciousness. If you have objectified it, is no more a consciousness. That's what we say. You cannot objectify. Could you follow? And therefore, basically it's one consciousness, which is free from, which is the self of even time, place and everything. Part of the creation, everything. Time exists in consciousness. I don't exist in time. Yeah, body exists in time. Mind exists in time. Pranas exist in time. Senses exist in time. That's correct. But I basically, if he's a changeless, I can understand, which is my own experience if I understand. A changeless thing must not have any effect of time. It's a timeless. So a time-wise, that's a immortality also. That's how it is. But anyway, so.
Namaste, Swamiji. Between Drashta and Sakshi, is there any difference?
Yes.
Or they are the same?
Yes, correct. Now, if you say Drashta, then there we have to say two Drashta now. That's how even Drugdrishya Viveka says. There are 3, in fact, they say. 3 Drug. Drug, Drishya. So when say world is Drishyam, then what is Drug? What is a Drashta? Senses are Drashta. Senses are Drug. Senses are Drishyam. Then what is Drashta? Mind is Drashta. Then mind is Drishyam. We have seen that. then what is drashta? That is self. But ultimately, mind and the senses, they are able to gain a status of a seer, drashta, on account of me, right? Becoming a conscious, senses become conscious and experience the world. Mind being conscious, conscious of the world and senses both. But mind has not its own consciousness. As I become aware of the mind gains consciousness automatically. Therefore, mind is, it's a very interesting thing. Mind is an in-between entity. That is why it is an issue. Mind is an in-between entity. Yeah, because mind itself also becomes a drashta like Atma. But Atma is nitya drashta. Nitya drashta means ever seer. If you want to say ever seer, changeless observer, it's fine. That's what the sakshi is. And the mind, etc., also is a drashta, but it comes and goes, it undergoes change, as we already saw that, right? So it is not a nitya drashta, and not in a true sense also. That's how they always call ahankara, the mind, as a secondary self, etc. Secondary self, yeah. So gauna atma. Puja Swamiji calls it as a atma which is time being. The time being Atma is ahankara. Just time being. Like right now, I am a waker, time being. But I am consciousness. That never comes and goes. Yeah.
Swamiji, can I understand like this?
Ah.
The drashta bhava, that means you do feel some experience, like sukh, dukh, or you have anger, you don't dislike or like, and all those things. Various sakshi bhava, there is nothing there, just be there.
Absolutely. Not only, so when you say sukha dukkha, etc., they are various thought forms, which of course we call as experience because they are lighted in consciousness. And at the same time, the ahankara which experiences sukha dukkha as a bhokta, right? All that is witnessed by entire mind. That's how I always say entire mind, in form of a I thought or in form of a this thought, etc. Other thought forms, which give rise to a sukha dukkha, to the ahankara, to the bhokta. I am ever witness to that. Yeah. Therefore, I am basically not a bhokta also. So that way, you are right, that drashta is a bhokta that way, ahankara, whereas Atma is a ever drashta, nitya drashta, which is not even a bhokta, which has no experience of sukha dukkha. But without Atma, no experience will be possible, sukha dukkha, etc. And as sukha dukkha arises, ahankara undergoes a change. Okay? As sukha dukkha arises, well, ahankara undergoes a change in terms of saying, I am happy, I am unhappy, etc. also. Atma never says that.
I just have one clarification.
Yes.
So when you were saying sakshat ikshate sakshi, you mentioned that it doesn't use the sense organs.
Naturally.
But then we still need the ahankara. I just wanted to clarify, to know
That I am sakshi.
Sakshi.
Correct.
So then extending that to the deep sleep, and you also mentioned something about the nirvikalpa samadhi. Nirvikalpa samadhi is, we can say, almost like a
Deep
extended
sleep.
deep sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So just I'm trying to recall that sense organs is not needed.
And that,
But sublated ahankara is still needed.
in fact, there are many states like that. Deep sleep is there, even, the person who has got some brain injury.
Right, coma.
So then for us, whenever a gross part doesn't function, has an injury, then the subtle part will not be able to function rightly. So therefore, ahankara will not be able to function when there is some brain injury. So even in that case, in case of injury, etc., person has an unconscious state, he will not be able to, definitely, his ahankara also is basically definitely subdued. Not resolved as such, but subdued, or may not be able to express fully. So even in nirvikalpaka samadhi, or even a sushupti, or even in this kind of a state also, in all the state ahankara is absent, it's always witnessed by the consciousness alone. Person will come out of the coma and says, I did not know anything, etc. Means there was absence of everything, is again lighted up by the same consciousness. Yeah. Person comes out of the sushupti also say the same thing, that I did not know anything. Person who comes out of the samadhi also will say the same thing. So ultimately, the absence of ahankara or any thought is absent, mind is absent, let's say, resolved, is basically witnessed by the, illumined by the sakshi.
So when we try to negate the body, negate the mind, I'm just wondering when you were saying about the I thought and this thought, whenever the thought arises, if I am able to objectify that the I thought is arising, then I am in the sakshi.
Absolutely. That's true. I thought arises because mind becomes conscious immediately. You know, as the mind arises from consciousness, it is always non-separate, arises from consciousness. It undergoes a change, thought modification. First is I thought, covering entire mind. Right? Like a pot thought arises, covers the entire pot. Pot thought arises covering a pot. Same way I thought arises covering the entire mind. And then whatever thought arises in terms of this thought will be owned up by the I thought. Could you follow? That's how it is. So therefore chittam, memory, or a buddhi, like a thought of certain deciding something, etc., analyzing something, or emotions, perception, that's called mind actually, manaha. All, any kind of thought is there, that's owned up by this ahankara. So accordingly, as the thought, this thought arises, it varies. I thought also undergoes change. Ahankara also varies. Could you follow? I am angry, I am this, I am that, I am seer, I am etc. etc. So this is a whole show is going on while in presence of I. And then they resolve. The show will be over and they are tired. Then I illumine even the blank space. This is how even, that is how even our, what is that, Natya Deepa Prakranam in Panchadashi. This is how they describe.
You mentioned vikara and another word.
Vyabhichara.
Vyabhichara.
The difference between vikara and vyabhichara, vikara means when it is present, it continuously undergoes change, like right now in a waking state, or vyabhichara means it comes and goes. Like from deep sleep state, it comes, again resolves back into the deep sleep state. So that's how. Even ahankara which is there in a dream state is different from the ahankara which is present here in a waking state. Here ahankara means that I sense is there in all the three bodies. Ahankara which is there, the I sense which is there in a dream state is only with a part of the mind, identified with the part of mind. So that way ahankara continuously, the waking ahankara goes away, dream ahankara comes. That also goes away and becomes unmanifest in a deep sleep state. So that's how a vyabhichara. And in a waking state itself it undergoes change as a seer, hearer, etc., walker, talker, thinker, recollector, like that. Okay. Yeah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.